look at number 1. You have your triangle here. Okay, how many sides do we have?
3.
Okay, there are 3. How many sides do we know? 2. That's bad. So we need to find the third side. How do we do that? Pythagorean theorem. Very good. So I'm going to let this side be A. This side is B. That means that this side is C because it's the longest side. So it's called the hypotenuse. So I'm going to do 2 squared plus 3 squared equals C squared. Okay, from there, how much is 2 squared? 3 squared is, okay, 4 plus 9 is 13. And does 13 have any perfect in it that when I square root both sides, I'll have to fix? No. So this side here, I'm going to label, this side is square root 13. Okay, now the way that your quiz is written, I think is a little bit confusing. Okay, but this worksheet's the same way, so I would show you how I would do it. The first thing that you're going to do is you're going to do all of the L questions. Okay, and then you're going to move your theta to be in the M corner. So for all of those questions I just circled in purple, L is my theta. Now, if this is my theta, this is the hypotenuse, which side, the 2 or the 3, is opposite this theta L? 2 or 3? 2. So this is my opposite side. This is my adjacent side. And remember that adjacent means touching, so whichever leg is touching that angle, that's the one that's adjacent. Okay, so then at the top, right, SOHCAHTOA. Let's see if we remember what we did Friday. Okay, so SOHCAHTOA. Okay, sine is opposite over hypotenuse. Cosine is adjacent over hypotenuse. Tangent is opposite over adjacent. So let's do cosine first. So cosine is adjacent over hypotenuse. So I'm going to put cosine equals adjacent over hypotenuse. What is my adjacent side length? Adjacent is 3. What is my hypotenuse side length? Square root of 13. Can I circle that as my answer? No, because there's a square root on the bottom. That breaks the rule. So we're going to put another root 13 on bottom, another root 13 on top, and then on top I'm going to have 3 root 13. What happens when you do root 13 times itself? Regular 13. Perfect. And you're done. Make sense? Okay, tangent. SOHCAHTOA. Tangent is opposite over adjacent. So, tan theta is opposite over adjacent. Which one's my opposite? 2. What's my adjacent? 2 over 3. And is there a square root on the bottom or anything I have to fix? Done. Okay, now I do the one other that has an L. So cosecant is whose partner? Do you remember? Sine. So it is sine flipped. So if sine is opposite over hypotenuse, what is cosecant? Hypotenuse over opposite. So remember that the S and the C's are both partners. So cosecant goes with sine, and then secant down here with the S goes with cosine. Okay? So what is my hypotenuse? Square root 13, and then what is my opposite? 2. Now, am I going to have to fix that? No, because the square root ended up on the top, and square roots on the top you don't have to fix. Everybody good with that? Okay, so now I'm going to redraw my triangle. Okay, I'm going to do it on a sticky note, but you can just do it maybe up here at the top. So, redraw the exact same triangle. Keep all the letters in the exact same corners. But we're going to change our theta instead of being in the L corner to being in the M corner. So here's my triangle. Here's my right angle. KML. This one is 2, 3, and root 13. I'm going to put it on top. Now, the only side that never changes is the hypotenuse. So, root 13 was the hypotenuse last time. That side is still the hypotenuse. But what's going to change is the O and the A. So, if I want to be in the M corner, now that's here. Which side is opposite the theta if I move it to that corner, the 2 or the 3? Now 3 is the opposite, and 2 is the adjacent. Does that make sense? So you have to pay attention to which corner of the triangle you're in to know which one's which. Okay, so I'm going to start with cosine just since we already did that. So cosine M is right here. Cosine is so, ka, or toa. Ka, so I'm going to do A over H. Cosine equals A over H. A is what? Okay, adjacent, which is 2 over. And then H is root 13. Can I leave my answer like that? Nope, breaks the rule. So I'm going to put another root 13 on the bottom, put another root 13 on top. And so then for my final answer, I'll have a 2 root 13 on top. And then root 13 times root 13 is regular 13. Remember, once you have 2 of them, the square root goes away. It's just the regular number from the middle. Okay? All right, let's do cotan. So cotan is tangent flipped. So tangent is usually the OA, okay, the TOA, so O over A. So if tan is O over A, what is it when I flip it? A over O. And now look at your new little triangle that you drew. What's my A side? 2. What's my opposite side? So it's 2 over 3. And then one of the things that I noticed there, okay, when I look at that, is that I can't divide 2 by 3. I don't have a square root, then I'm finished early. Okay, last one, cosecant. That's sine flipped. Okay, we did this one earlier. Sine is opposite over hypotenuse, then what is cosecant? Hypotenuse over opposite. And what's the hypotenuse? Root 13. What's the opposite for M? 3. Root's not on the bottom, so I'm done. Make sense? Okay. Go down to the next one. I'm going to do number 10 for you, but then you'll have to finish that section on your own. So go down to the next triangle. What you should notice is that you, yes ma'am? Huh? Is 5, did we do that one backwards? Cotan should be, no, because you have to flip the O over A. So A ends up on the top. It's not tan, it's cotan. So you have to do, your M is here. So adjacent to M would be 2 on top, and then opposite would be 3, because you changed corners. Okay, so first thing we have to do is find the missing side. I have 2 sides. My third side I don't know. I have to do Pythagorean theorem. So I'm going to do it up here at the top. I'm going to have a squared plus 4 squared equals 2 root 5 squared. Okay, what is 4 squared? 4 squared would be 16. And then I'm going to do it on my sticky note, but do you remember how to do 2 root 5 squared? You do, huh? Yes, you can do it like that, or you can think about that's 2 root 5 times 2 root 5 again. And then what's 2 times 2? What's root 5 times root 5? Root 25, which is 5. What's 4 times 5? 20. Okay, then from there, I need a squared by itself. So I'm going to minus my 16 across. What is a squared going to equal? A squared equals 4. Then what is a? Square root both sides. So a, this side is 2. So now I know all of my side links. This side is 2. This side is 2 root 5. This side is 4. Okay, we are going to do number 10. Actually, hold on. I wanted to do secant. We're going to do number 9. Wrong one. Who is cosecant's partner for this one? What are you going to flip? Sine flipped. Okay, but we've already done an example of that, so we're going to do number 9. Who is secant's partner? Secant is cosine flipped. Okay? Now, for your quiz, it's open notes. So as long as you don't lose your papers and you've been taking notes, you should have all, you don't have to memorize them, you'll have your paper with all of them on there. Okay, so what is cosine usually? Adjacent over hypotenuse. Then what is cosine flipped when I do secant? Hypotenuse over adjacent. Okay, well then what is my, and actually what corner are we in for this one? What letter? N. So N is here. So let's label our 3 sides. The first side I'm looking for is my hypotenuse. That is here. Okay, and then if I'm in N's corner over here, is 4 the adjacent side or the opposite side? Yep, 4 is adjacent and 2 is opposite. Now, if they change letters to the other corner, is that going to change? Yes. Okay, so make sure that you remember what corner you're in matters. So if I'm doing hypotenuse over adjacent, what's my hypotenuse? 2 root 5. What's my adjacent? 4. Is the square root on the bottom that I'm going to have to fix it? No, but can these guys reduce? What is 2 out of 4 the same as? 1 over 2 or a half. So you would just take 2 out of 4, that's the same as a half, and then just kind of leave the square root by itself. Okay? Then while we're at it, let's just do 10 to knock it out. Sine is opposite over hypotenuse. What is it when you flip it? Sine is opposite over hypotenuse. What is cosecant? Hypotenuse over opposite. Then what's my hypotenuse? 2 root 5. What is my opposite? 2. And what happens if I have a 2 top and bottom? Cancel out. Your answer is just root 5. Make sense? Okay, now what I would recommend, just like we did last time, is I would do all of the ends at the same time. And then I would redraw the triangle to do the P, and the P. Does that make sense? So you have to remember that when you do these 3, you're going to need to relabel the sides of your triangle because you're using the P corner instead of the N corner. Yes, ma'am? Yeah, you still have to multiply by root 5, top and bottom. Okay, how about we'll do one where you have to do that so you can see an example. Let's do this one to give you an example of that. Actually, hold on, we want to do another n. So you said which one? 13? Okay, let's do 13 real quick. Okay, so 13, what are my cosine sides? Adjacent over hypotenuse. What's my adjacent side? Look at your triangle. 4, what's my hypotenuse? 2 root 5. Now, can 4 divide by 2? What is it? 4 divided by 2 is just a 2 over 1. So you don't have to fix the 2, you only have to fix the root 5. So then from there, I'd put another root 5, another root 5, and then what would you get on the top? It'd be 2 root 5 over regular 5. Does that help? Okay, so if you can reduce, cool, but you only have to multiply by another root 5. 2 isn't breaking any rules being on the bottom, only the root 5 is. Okay? Alright, next section. So you have a couple left to do there. These are kind of weird, but I want you to just kind of go with it. Okay, what are the normal sides for sine? SOHCAHTOA, which one? Okay, opposite over hypotenuse. Now, do you see here that they gave you the answer? So the opposite side has to be 3. The hypotenuse side has to be 5. So I have to pick the corner of the triangle that I want to be in for this to be my answer. So think about, if I want to be on 3, which letter is opposite that? B. Does that make sense? So if I know that the sine is 3 out of 5, then I had to be in corner B so that 3 is opposite and 5 is the hypotenuse. Okay? We'll do one more. Let's just do 16. Cosecant. Who is that flipped? Cosecant goes with sine. Sine flipped. So sine is opposite over hypotenuse. Then what is cosecant? Hypotenuse over opposite. So if I want 5 to be the hypotenuse, well, duh, that's always the hypotenuse. But then if I want 4 to be opposite, 4 is here, then what is 4 the opposite of? A. Does that make sense what you're doing? Now, your answer can never be C, because C is the right angle. So you're either going to put A or B. Do you want to do one more, or you got it? One more. Okay, let's do cotan. Okay, cotan is tan flipped. Okay, which would be A over O. Very good. So if I want 3 to be adjacent and 4 to be opposite, which angle is touching 3 and opposite 4? Okay, touching 3 and opposite 4 means A. Make sense? Okay, flip over to the back side. Just have a couple more left. Okay, what I want you to do next is cross out the entire right column. Okay, I wouldn't scribble it out a bunch because you may need the space, but just to make this a little bit shorter, we're going to cross out 23, 25, 27, 29, and 31. So just down that side. So you have 5 on the back that you have to do, not all of them. Okay? So we're going to do number 22 first. So you have your little triangle over here. It tells you that cosine of A is 3 over 5. Now, what are cosine sides? SOHCAHTOA. What is cosine sides? Okay, adjacent over hypotenuse. So if I'm in corner A, I put my little theta up there. My adjacent side has to be 3. My hypotenuse has to be 5. My adjacent side has to be 3. My hypotenuse has to be 5. Then all that they're asking me to do is to find the missing side. That's all that you're doing each time. So if I want this side, I'm going to call that B, and then you're just doing Pythagorean theorem. So how would my Pythagorean theorem be set up? Three squared plus B squared equals 5 squared. What's 3 squared? How much? plus b squared is itself. 5 squared is 25. Minus the 9 across, how much is left over? 16. And if b squared is 16, then square root both sides. How long is side b? 4. Make sense? Okay. Now, next one that we're going to do is going to be 24. Okay, so look at the next one. I'm going to redraw the triangle so that I don't have to scribble all over the same one. So just keep everything in all the same corners. So A is on top, C is here, B is here. They tell me that cosecant of B is 7 over 3. Okay, well if B is my angle, theta goes here. And then what is the side ratio for cosecant? Who do I flip? Sine. Very good. That is sine flipped. So if sine is opposite over hypotenuse, then what is cosecant? Hypotenuse over opposite. Good job, Faye. Okay, so label your hypotenuse with a 7. So my 7 is going here. And then which side, the bottom or the side of the triangle, is the opposite?
AC.
AC, which is the side. Very good. So put your 3 there. And then all you're doing in that top section is finding the missing length. You do Pythagorean theorem. So we're going to call this side B. So it'd be 3 squared plus b squared equals 7 squared. How much is 3 squared? 49. How much is 7? Oops, just a 9, sorry. How much is 7 squared? 49. And then I'm going to minus that 9 across to the other side. 49 take away 9 is how many? 40, then do what? Square root, square root. Now question, can I write that my answer is root 40? No, that has a perfect in it, and that's where you'll want to have your list out. What perfect square can 40 divide by? Which one?
4.
4. 4 times what? 4 times 10. Very good. And then the root of 4 is perfect. Square root of 4 is 2, so it's 2 root 10. That'd be this side right here.
Why don't we use the box?
Huh?
Why don't we use the
Because we were trying to, so it's not sine here, it's cosecant. So cosecant and sine are buddies. You just, to find cosecant, you flip sine. Okay, last one we're going to do together is number 30. Okay, so go down to number 30. Redraw your triangle. Keep it in the same position. Yes, ma'am. Yeah, they labeled the wrong side. Just find the missing side every time. But you're right, it is labeled incorrectly on that one. Okay, so A, B, C, same as last time. Huh? What's the right angle? Just keep it in the C corner. Oh, okay, now you're right. This one says theta, so we're going to have to pick what angle we're supposed to be in, okay? So I want you to think about, they're telling me that cosecant theta has to be 7 over 3. Now, they didn't tell me an angle to pick, so I'm just going to pick one. I'm going to pick B. You could pick whichever one you want, but if they didn't tell me, then I'm going to just put theta here. But you're right. If they leave it like that, you can pick whatever corner you want. Now, they're telling me that cosecant, which is sine flipped, has to be 7 over 3. So, if sine flipped, okay, sine is O over H, then what's cosecant? H over O. So, my hypotenuse side needs to be how long? 7. My opposite side needs to be 3. So, I'm putting a 3 opposite. I'm putting a 7 here. Now, look on your page. We should already know this side. We already did it earlier. Look at the first two. Which one had a 3 and a 7?
2 square root of 10.
Yeah. So I'm just going to come up here. Look, we already did this right here. So if this one's 3 and that one's 7, then this side is 2 root 10. So I'm not going to try to figure that out all over again. I'm just going to say, oh, I already figured that out in the other question. Okay, so I want to find cotan. Cotan is which one flipped?
Tangent full.
Tangent flipped. Very good. So if tangent is O over A, because it's the TOA, then what is it if I flip it? Adjacent over opposite. Now remember, I have to stay in the same corner. So what is that one's adjacent side? 2 root 10. And then what is its opposite side? 3. So I'd put 2 root 10 on top, 3 on bottom. Now, can 2 and 3 here reduce like they did on some of them? No, then you're done. Okay, because I can reduce, and my square root's on the top. So I don't have to worry about fixing it. Okay? Make sense? Now, the last thing I want to point out to you is when you do number 28, go ahead and just set it up. Put your theta there just like last time. If cosine is 4 over 5, what are your cosine sides? Which one would I pick? O, A, or H? Cosine is A over H. Good. So then my adjacent side needs to be a 4. My hypotenuse needs to be a 5. Look back at the questions you already did at the top. If one side's a 5 and one side's a 4, how long is the other side? Okay, look back up at this one. It's going to be a 3. So if this one's a 5 and that one's a 4, the other side's a 3. Well, then if this one's a 5 and that one's a 4, that one's automatically a 3. So you can kind of like reuse the work that you already did to set up the other ones. Okay? Alright, so you have like 15 minutes, 16 minutes. We'll review tomorrow. You'll have your quiz on Wednesday. Then you're done for Thursday, Friday. Yes, ma'am. Angelica? Like a list of them? I'll write them out and I'll put them up here if you want. You can take a picture of it. It would be 2 squared is 4, 3 squared is 9, 4 squared is 16, 5 squared is 25. And you may also have it in your notes 1 from the very first day back, if you have that.